Hey, Graham,
Yeah.
you ready for some roleplay?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah! I don't know what that was, but let's change over to a new segment.
Oh, gosh.
We're going to the grades.
Stop it.
And Graham's going to take over.
I've got the really easy job of just reading people's names here. Since if you've been listening to this podcast, I mean, you know that Mafia won, although from the amount of complaints Kyle has lodged, you would have think they lost. So they're going to go last in grades.
I'm just letting you know the degree of difficulty, okay?
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna do the three Mafia last, and we're pretty much just going down roster order. So we're starting with my guy who hit himself so well, Red, aka Jellyfisher. Jeff, tell me what you thought about our boy Jellyfisher.
So Jellyfisher so I'm doing stuff a little different. Because I thought town play was really good this game, instead of just doing letters, I added pluses and minuses this time because I had a lot of people who were just like right there on the edge of a certain grade, and I just couldn't justify putting them up or bringing them down. So just a heads up, there are pluses and minuses here.
Is there an S tier?
There is not.
Okay.
I thought about it just for Kyle's sake, but so Jellyfisher, aka Red, got a C minus.
Whoa.
And so Jellyfisher made some really solid points about shaking up scum hunting in the meta. Everything he was saying day 1, day 2 was on point. I thought it was solid, good stuff. He had good reads. He was playing solid. He was doing good. He completely blew it on purple. He was one of the people who said, oh, well, Mafia would never play that well. But I think Jelly was more focused on not being found out as Jellyfisher and keeping up his facade than on making coherent, memorable posts. And I don't remember a single post he made.
Nor I.
Despite him having like 250 posts.
I was shocked he had that many.
And I remember a lot of misspellings. I remember a lot of vague and kind of sarcastic statements. He would have been a B or higher if not for the self-sabotage, and I think he ended up hurting the town more than helping it, despite having some excellent points.
I actually thought it might become a point of conversation that because he was disguising himself and had like shifted between accents, that he was someone who was playing like they had something to hide.
Oh, never came up.
I mean, he gets points for no one guessing it was him, I guess.
I don't know if our stats guy could get on this, but does he get the grade for the most badass looking little avatar? Because every time I looked at it, I got kind of intimidated. There's something about the glasses. Wasn't he like the bandana and like the
yeah?
Looked like a hobo, didn't he?
The ninja mask and the stained janitor's outfit.
I can't remember. It must not be that memorable. So
it was pretty memorable.
You get a D minus for that take. I'm gonna grade your takes.
That's fine. Still passing. Speaking of passing, I'm gonna pass it over to Black. AWAST1, aka Mr. Chick-fil-A, aka needs to solve the game on day 2 and post a thesis to the game and tell me how you feel about him.
I wrote so much on this guy.
Oh boy.
I have so many notes on him that I had to kind of like really clear it out, because his grade, this is one of the ones I struggled with, because at one time I wanted to give him like a D because I felt he hurt the town. Other times I wanted to give him closer to a B for his psychological effect on the Mafia. I ended up settling with a middle of the line C, just a solid C. He didn't really scum hunt. He was number hunting.
That's a good
Puzzling.
point. I hadn't thought
He
about
was
that
puzzle
way.
hunting. Yeah. Yeah. He did clear pink, but that's really about it. And there was also, he was trying to do a lot of meta breaking. At one time he said, well, Absol told me that he does this when he makes games, so he wouldn't do this, or I know Absol balanced the game, so he wouldn't do this or do that. That's not helpful. It's never been helpful. He was a big part for why D2 was bloated. He voted a lot for a lot of different people, and at one time he was willing to vote Cyan just to prove that the rest of his reads were right because Cyan would be town.
Oh yes, and he said it would clear like 5 people.
I think I was one of
Yes.
the people he said it would clear too.
I remember this.
So he like went all over the place on you, Brown. You were, or Kyle, you were Mafia, then you were cleared, then you were Mafia again. I couldn't follow his line of thinking. I just felt like he wasn't making good points. Like, from a Mafia perspective, I understand why you guys were like, oh my god, he's putting so much pressure on us. But the town was kind of like, and Graham, you can kind of attest to this, I feel like the town was kind of just pushing him aside. They were like, whatever.
The first like 4 or 5 like big posts he made, I remember reading, going, okay, yeah, I get the legitimacy to some of these, and then he just got really erratic in the middle of the day, and the top just kind of came off.
I felt like
Yeah.
he turned
So-
into the meme where it's like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, and as I said earlier during night 2, I think that Black was a subpar kill, but Black put a lot of fear in the Mafia. All 3 Mafia were like, oh, Black he sees the Matrix. He can read the code and he knows who we are and he's gonna lead the town against us. And there was a legitimate concern that Black had cracked the code, but from the town perspective, they were like, oh, whatever. A crazy glowing man is saying things. So he gets points. He gets points for basically drawing the Mafia's attention. And there is something to be said about that. He basically was super town looking.
as great as not for a lack of trying.
No, and that's why I gave him right in the middle of the road. I couldn't justify a B and I couldn't justify a D. So
That's fair.
yeah, I think the biggest thing though is that if you took all of Black's post out of the game, how much changes?
I would say a lot, because I think you can't it can't be minimized how crucial knowing Pink, someone whose protector could not be role blocked and always ended up getting past the protector, knowing that they were town really changed the dynamic of the day talk.
That's a fair point, and I really struggled with this grade. I'm not gonna lie. I think he went. I even have in the notes here: upgraded to C plus, downgraded to C, downgraded to C minus, upgraded to C plus. So I could be tempted. I could be talked into giving him a C plus because of the Pink thing.
I also don't think the yellow versus lime day doesn't happen, but that might be good for the town.
That's the other thing too. The math sunk the town, but that's not Black's fault.
No, it's not.
So
I wasn't blaming him for it. I'm just saying in terms of shaping the game. Without that, I don't think yellow compiles all this. Here's my 6 spreadsheets of everybody's votes, and here's the 4 people that didn't vote for any Mafia. All right.
I'd say C bordering on C plus for AWAST.
Okay, well here's one that I think might just be an incomplete. White Master Moo Cow. We saw him for what, 10 posts, 11 posts.
I gave him a grade actually.
Oh, okay, good. Let's give it to him.
Day 1 was so active I could give both blue, JD Koopa, and white grades, and I give Master Moo Cow white a B because he was only alive for 1 day. He didn't post that much, but he had a strong day 1. He was focusing on that flavor. He was looking for inconsistencies. He was looking for the patterns. He was picking up a lot of the patterns.
I thought he was Jellyfisher. This post
Same.
reminded me of Jellyfisher's analysis.
Same.
He was also sniffing around both green and purple as early as day 1. He thought it was weird how hesitant they were being on flavor. And I wrote in here that had white made it to the mid to end game, I think he would have been a powerful ally to Cyan, who I've already said, Aetarian played very well this game. And I'm just imagining instead of lime and yellow, it's cyan and white. It's Master Mukau and Aetarian, and that's suddenly a much stronger town. So I gave him a B because I saw the seeds. I saw the seeds of strong gameplay, even if he didn't get a chance to show it.
Really post, yeah.
I didn't mention this earlier when we decided to kill White, but we chose him instead of Pink because we had a -1 vote on one of them, and so we on White, so we thought it was more likely that, or no, sorry, we had a -1 vote on Pink, but not on White, so we thought it was more likely that White had Protector and protected somebody, not themselves. So that was like the final like edge on the coin flip there.
Going back to the clearing Pink, by the way, so Pink was cleared because of the math, but the math was wrong, and Pink actually wasn't cleared. Pink had 2 more votes than the next person with votes. So technically Pink could have been Mafia based on the rules of having at least 2 more votes. I just thought that was a funny coincidence that accidentally didn't make it into the game. Part of the... I don't remember how the math didn't work that way, but whatever.
Huh. A little bit weird.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, we didn't have many posts for Mukau. You know who we did have a lot of posts for? Yellow. Darth Pika.
Darth Pika...
I'm really excited for this one.
Darth Pika got a C-.
It's lower than I thought. Okay.
So... he was obsessed with specialty distribution, being the end-all, be-all, game-breaking puzzle solver. And while it's true that distribution did end up being almost as he predicted, it was only because the Mafia chose it that way, not because I had planned it that way. Yellow obsessed with the math, and there was a point where he was never even considering that Mafia would lie about their votes. In fact, he even straight up posted, Mafia aren't motivated to lie about their votes or something like that. I wrote that down on here. I was like, I didn't get why he said that. I thought he was solid town and early scum hunting. I thought his early game was decently strong, but he fell into the same traps that Darth Pika always falls in. He immediately accused anyone who disagrees with him as being Mafia. At one time, Kyle posts in before Darth Pika accuses me of being Mafia for disagreeing with him, and the very next post is Darth Pika voting for him for disagreeing with him.
Yes.
So, bad traps. He just refused to even consider the possibility he might be wrong, or like he might have, but he wasn't posting it. He continues to make these Mafia will do X and behave like Y, and Town will behave like X and behave like Y posts, and they're just it's never been right ever. It's always been wrong.
What did you think about his post where he said, Mafia is scared of me because I identified them on day 2?
I think that's another trap he falls into. He figures out who Mafia are early game and sticks with it, and I don't think he accounts for the changing. And I say this all as constructive criticism, and I know he knows this even if he disagrees with me, because I've tried. I want to see, as I said, pre-2014 Darth Pika, who was a Mafia force to be reckoned with in my mind. So I want to see old DP come back. But this, unfortunately, he lost a lot of goodwill. So the town nabs 2 Mafia, and his overconfidence went through the roof, I felt like. And he made comments like, if I'm wrong, kill me. Or like, he basically, I wrote here, has potential to burn town to the ground. And then he went on this crusade against Lime. And I thought he kind of lit himself on fire and did his best to try and burn the town to the ground. He didn't, though. I want to be clear on that. He didn't. No one burned the town to the ground in this game. I firmly believe that. There were mistakes made by the town, but there is no one who burned the town to the ground. So, Darth Pika, you get a C-. It's not the greatest, but C's get degrees.
Could be worse. All right. Let's so like you said, nobody burned the town to the ground, and I agree with that sentiment. Let's go to someone who got to also control conversation, but due to different reasons. Pink, Tomahawk.
So Pink had an A until day 5. And then he got downgraded. So I thought Tomahawk had absolutely solid play. And prior to day 5, he had a well-deserved A. I made a comment that I really liked Talkative Tama, and I'd like to see Tomahawk post more in the future. Huh?
He's back.
Yeah. Tomahawk's good at this game. And especially when he posts more than he usually does. He picked up on the flavor connections really quickly. He avoided almost every town trap. He was on the trail of green and purple as early as day 1 and especially on day 2. He was extremely aware of where the abilities and roles were, and he called out. He even took Yellow's claim as town when he got the seer call on Yellow. The first thing he did was go, "Wait a minute, the anti-seer's still out there. We need to be careful." Now, granted, Yellow still got ejected, but that was a smart thing to be aware of. I thought he used all... He had the most abilities this game. Pink had Protector Night 1, Medscan Night 2, Protector, Seer, and Neighbor Night 3, and Detective Night 4, and Protector Night 5. He had an ability every single night.
Yeah.
And I think he used all his abilities very effectively. He protected himself once. He protected he did Detective on Cyan. He seared Yellow and protected himself again. And then he did Detective on Tan. Solid targets. And then he protected Tan on the last night, which was a gambit that Kyle called and was successful on. It's a 50-50 shot. So he gets an A up until day 5. Day 5, he just kind of left the building. He just kind of accepted that Lime was Mafia. He didn't really play, didn't really investigate Scum Hunt, didn't really consider that Brown might be Mafia, and just dropped off the game, and that dropped him from an A to a B, honestly.
Okay.
Cal, do you have anything to add? Formidable opponent.
Yes.
I knew it was Tom. I figured out every player in the game by night 2, except for Master Mukau and Jellyfisher. I had them flipped. And I identified early on, as soon as Superstar was eliminated and I was planning out my endgame, Pink is the biggest problem, especially since he can not be role blocked. But I knew Tomahawk was Pink, so I was scared of Tomahawk because I have a lot of experience talking Mafia with him. But I thought as long as he still is focused on other players, I could let him survive to the end, because I wasn't trying to create an end game where it was a free-for-all, Orange and Lime and Yellow and me are all kind of going at each other. I just wanted it to be me and somebody else. I'll take those odds. I feel like I can make it out of that kind of spot. So in that way, I was kind of betting on myself. I know Tomahawk is good, and I'm probably gonna have to let him go to the end game to not risk him getting protected or protecting himself. But it was a choice I felt gave me the best chance to not mess it all up. So I was really paranoid about his play all game and had to account for him every single night. But in the end, it ended up working out.
I did make a mistake, by the way. It was a B+, not a B on Tomahawk. I did, because I do want to differentiate him from the other Bs. So. Okay.
All right. Move on to another solid town showing here. Cyan, Atarian.
So, Cyan earned an A. I was very impressed with Atarian's play this game. His day 1, he was immediately trying to corral and collect information. He was looking for the patterns. He was looking. He tried to find links with flavor, with play, and in general, he was actually scum hunting. A lot of people were trying to math and puzzle solve, but he was out there scum hunting, and it was contrasted with especially day 2. You look at Black. and yellow and you look at cyan, and their plays completely different, and I think cyan was way more effective in getting his objective achieved. Cyan was on top of purple, green, and brown like the entire time. I was going to give him an A+, but he second guessed himself a lot, like too much, and I think it just prevented him from that perfect grade in my mind. But I think that Cyan was 100% one of the best town players this game.
No qualms here.
I would say that the one thing that I think was his downfall of not getting that perfect grade was, if I had to point to one thing, would probably be wondering if there was a way Black was Mafia. I thought he was like the only person who thought that.
I thought that. I just didn't post about it.
You thought that too?
It goes back to second guessing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, oh yeah, no,
a surprising number of people thought it.
Yeah, big tinfoil hat on day 2 in my head. Oh,
maybe
yeah.
he was the only one sharing it out loud then.
Yeah, no, exactly. I purposely did not share it, but in the back of my head, I was thinking, wait a second.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't blame him for that.
Yeah, that's what I meant about saying that Mafia was scared of Black more than Town was convinced that he was their leader. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more paranoia when you're on that side of the board. You always feel like everything points to you. Yeah.
100%.
You know who's someone that everything always points to on day 1? Oh my God, JD Koopa, blue. Sorry, buddy.
So I gave him a grade, even though he only lived day 1. And you know what? I gave him a B-. And for all of his, I think that him getting ejected was more the fault of the town for falling into the same day 1 traps they always make, and not because of any particular action he took. I have a lot of notes from day 1 that basically just say solid post by JD Koopa, shaking up the meta attempt by JD Koopa. He was trying to, like, at one time he was like, hey guys, why don't we not reveal everything all at once? Let's piecemeal this out. Let's have a plan, because we're just going to give the Mafia exactly what our town card looks like. And I was like, he's thinking. So I thought his play was fine. He gets a B-. It's better than, because he didn't, to get a C you have to actually hurt your faction. But a B- is just, he played fine.
He's as cool as the Dairy Queen Blizzard. All right. The other half to Mr. Sprite, yellow, lime, Pro Hawk.
Pro Hawk, and I know people are going to disagree.
Pro Hawk.
Pro Hawk, they might disagree with me on this.
Give him a B. Do it.
I gave him a B.
Okay.
I gave him a B.
I'm fine with this.
I liked his day 1 play. He said, I'm not going to reveal my flavor. And I sent him a message at one time later on during games, like, what was your idea for that? And he says, I wanted to bait out who would go for the low-hanging fruit. I wanted to make myself ejectable, because I wanted to just say something against the town's will. And it didn't necessarily catch the fish he was trying to bait in. It caught yellow and only yellow. But I appreciate that he was thinking as early as day 1 on what he was going to do. I thought he was on the right trail. He really didn't fall for like the easy stuff. Like, he wouldn't just like look at red and be like, oh, red's clearly Mafia. Or he didn't even think yellow was Mafia. Despite everything, he didn't think yellow was Mafia. I think that he suffers from the same thing I suffer from, which is social tact. I think lime comes off a little like sandpaper sometimes, kind of like I do.
Just a little.
And it doesn't help. His day 4 was not good. He got baited by Darth Pika hard. And Darth Pika got under his skin, and he got really pissed off, and Brown had to invoke the chill pill on him. Day 5, I thought the no eject solution was absolutely solid until Pink proved that both Pink and Tan were cleared. Prior to that, knowing only Pink is clear, the no eject would have gotten the protector roll to move again. Oh, go on.
No, I was just gonna say. I said to you going into that I was also gonna advocate for a no eject on that day as well, and then I was not killed.
Now's the time to have this discussion because I think no eject was not the right play.
No, you get an extra day.
So let me explain why I think it was the right play, because I want to hear what you think as well. So using Among Us, the actual game, as a good example, whenever you have 4 people, you never vote someone out because you want to force the imposter to make a kill, put you down to 3, and then you make that decision. If you vote someone out and you're wrong, the imposter just kills someone whenever they want and they automatically win. Same thing here. If you no eject, you get an entire day phase where you either force the Mafia to kill and you've got the detective out there who might catch him or the protector that might stop him, and you go into day 6 with 4 people. Or if you go in with 3 people, you either go into day 6 with 4 people or 3 people, but either way you're going in to another day phase. By killing, they force that 50-50 situation that's honestly in your favor, because even, yes, if the kill whiffed, you were probably going to get ejected, but 50-50 is way more in your favor than day 6 would have been.
Okay,
Kyle?
Can I counterpoint a few scenarios?
Yes, go ahead.
So,
by all means.
First scenario, this is the
Nope,
most
you're wrong.
obvious one. If I target pink and I fail, and we enter the day with 4 people, what have we gained, and what was our plan going forward?
Well, there's abilities being passed. So, and if Lime had passed,
isn't it worse though for the pink protector to be out of Pink's hands now?
If they don't catch you on day 6, then night 7 is bad, or night 6 is bad for them. But they still get the benefit of another 72 hours of discussion. Like, there's nothing. That's the town's best weapon at the end of the day. Like, what do they lose from that?
What do they gain from the most cleared person getting removed from the game?
Well, that's if. So you're saying if you kill Pink and take the
if I kill Pink and I take Pink out, I don't feel like they gain anything. Like you'd say, like, now we're at 3 people, but the only person that's been removed is the cleared person, right? And if I shoot Pink and they're protected, then we're back in the same place and we know the target was Pink, and we also don't gain anything from that. And now the protector is out of the person who can't be Roblox's hands.
So the question, there's a lot of what if here. I think that at the end of the day, they're not in any worse of a situation than they were on day 5. Like,
it's not a worse situation, but is it better?
It's the same situation.
It's not exactly the same because the protector isn't in Pink's hands anymore.
Yes, but the game now can't end night 5. It's impossible for you to end the game night 5 if they don't eject. And they have a chance to get more information in some way. Maybe that's switching the day chat around. Maybe the detective. I mean, obviously you roadblock the detective with Lime or with Tan, but what if Lime did have the detective?
So what are the pros of this? What are the pros of entering the next day and Pink is still around and there's no one dead?
72 more hours to actually play the day phase instead of the not play that they didn't do.
Graham?
I mean, it's an entire day.
Yeah.
It's an entire day phase.
It's still,
so you're assuming that like
you,
some new information is going to come out that's positive and not actually worse?
Is the in your scenario, is the detective role still in the game?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if one of the people that is the 50-50 vote for you or somebody else sees something to confirm their suspicions, then that's going to be wildly against you, and they're getting an extra night for that to happen.
The most important thing is
that only works if I don't role block that person. And if we're still being public where the abilities are, then I just know, okay, I role block that person and I kill Pink and I get away with it.
The most important thing is that the game ending is no longer in the Mafia's hands, in the town's hands. I think that if you want to ask what's the biggest takeaway, you have the power to end the game during the night phase if there's 3 people going into it. day 6, the town.
That doesn't work if I
has the
fail to
power.
kill, though. If
No,
I
even
shoot
if you
Pink
get
and I miss, we're in the same spot again.
You're right. You're right. You are in the same spot. You still don't have the power to end the game during that day phase. It's still up to the town to decide who ends the day phase.
And I'm glad
And
you
at one
said that,
time,
because that brings me to my last scenario.
Yeah.
My last scenario is that I don't shoot anyone at all.
Prohawk asked me on this. He goes, "What happens if we keep not ejecting and the Mafia just keeps not killing?"
Uh-huh.
And I don't think that happens. One, because eventually you're going to realize that the priest is not in the protector's hand and can be roll blocked. So you're probably going to want to take the kill at that point because you're pretty safe in going at it. But I did tell him, I said, on the obscure chance that neither the Mafia or town want to end the game, I probably just start creating a countdown, kind of like in Secret Hitler with the veto, where basically if both sides refuse to make a move, a little countdown starts ticking, and maybe like I go, all right, if neither side makes a move during this day or night phase, then the vote count's going to be reduced by 1 to eject or something like that. But that's in a super extreme scenario where both Mafia and Town have decided we're not advancing the game state for whatever reason.
Is that a bad scenario for me?
I think so. I think
it's a better scenario because if anyone's gun shy about voting, it's not me. I just wait till there's a scenario where I think that I can kill Lime and I just vote immediately.
At the end of the day, the more time you give the town to like decide, I don't have anything to do today, I'm gonna go reread day 2 and see what pops out to me, then the more dangerous, the more weapons you give the town. The more time the town has to talk, the more chances they have to have a epiphany.
And they have the more chances to convince themselves that it's Lime.
Also true, okay? But I mean, HT Town only needs 20 minutes to do that.
I don't think that there's any counterplay to me not killing anybody. Graham, do you?
I mean, maybe not necessarily, but I mean, in the same vein of, like, you don't benefit from the extra days in any of your scenarios. They're of no benefit to you. You want the game to end as soon as possible.
But I'm most in control. I can't control everyone's votes, but I can control my kill. So I know what's going to happen at the end of every night. Everyone doesn't know what the other 3 people are going to do during the day. So I just keep repeating the day, waiting for someone to die, and it's probably going to be Lime.
Sure, it doesn't necessarily affect the way that you're gonna...
Lime thought it was you, so...
Totally fair, but it doesn't change the way that you are going to approach the game, regardless of whether or not you kill overnight. So I don't see how it could ever be beneficial to you. The game state stays the same for you.
Yeah, I think it helps the town. I really do. I think that you give the town more control because you're giving them extra days.
I guess we just agree to disagree. I don't see how it helps the town.
If everybody could please comment on YouTube about how wrong Kyle is on this, we would appreciate that.
And please remember to like and subscribe for more video content.
I know, Kyle. I don't understand how in any world where there's extra time and your situation doesn't actively, objectively improve, how that could be a positive for a Mafia member. But we will agree to disagree.
It's just like you're just assuming that with infinite time they'll come to the right conclusion, and I don't think that's
not
logical.
Necessarily, but I think if you ran a scenario 5 times, they're more likely to be successful when you extrapolate the days out longer.
I mean, let's look at it just as simply as it goes to day 7. Prohawk comes back from spring break and now has time to actually get on his computer
with a tan.
Yeah, with a tan. Maybe a slight sunburn, so it's harder to type because he got sunburned on his fingers. But he suddenly decides, hey, I've got time, and I'm going to go after Brown now. And then Tan, who's been waiting for someone to just convince him that he's wrong about Lime, suddenly goes, maybe it is Brown. And then Pink comes back and says, oh yeah, I'm still playing this game. And he votes. And it's just... That's
just one scenario. There could be more scenarios where Lime does the same thing. And then I say like, Oh, someone's trying to capitalize now.
No.
Someone's motivated to try and win now.
No, you're right, but at the end of the day, it's still a day phase. The vote to eject is what controls the end of the game, not your night kill during night 5. That's the most important part.
This is the end scene of Interstellar. There's a billion books, and you could have picked any one of them, and you picked the one you won.
This is the scenario I want, though. You're saying that town has the control, and I want them to have the control by not moving first.
Fair enough. You can keep giving them to the initiative.
Yeah.
So what the best gamble for you is that you get to choose who dies at night and end the game based on that.
But I'm only going to do that
means
if I know that I'm not going to get caught by detector. I don't need to take a risk if I don't have to.
Fair enough. Town has no advantage at night. They have 0 advantage at night. Therefore, all their advantage is during the day phase.
I think if you
give
get
them an extra
into
day
a
phase.
last day where it's me and Tan and Orange. Wait, who's left on that day? Who I actually don't remember which night we're talking about now.
Okay. I mean, it's all, look, it doesn't matter what players are left. It's all hypotheticals, of course. I just think that at the end of the day, no, because you're talking about this scenario in a vacuum, in a void, not just for this game. Does it benefit the town to extend to day 6? And I think it absolutely does.
Agree and disagree.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right. Moving on. I don't
That's
remember
fair.
what caused this, but ProHawk, good job, buddy.
Yeah, ProHawk got a B.
Yeah.
Raptor Zone, you never weighed in. What do you think? You're
no,
independent.
Don't worry about it. All right. Next up, Orange. Me. Hi. Can I take my C and move on now? Thanks.
You got a B-.
That is generous. Thank you.
Quiet, didn't say much, didn't do much, had little presence, but
Very generous.
Very generous. Thank you.
what little posts you did have were strong. You advocated for proper scum hunting over religious following of HT norms or unreliable math or presumptions regarding the specialty layout. Didn't do anything bad enough to warrant a C.
Yay.
Didn't actively hurt the town. Seemed to want to listen to was a solid voice of reason that just no one wanted to listen to. Had an I did say you had an ample ample chance to step up and be a town voice day 4 and maybe try and step in between the lime and yellow debacle and offer some voice of reason, but you kind of just didn't.
No, because I thought Lime was the bad guy.
Fair enough. Fair point. I thought that you just could have done a little more, but I thought what you did wasn't bad. You didn't fall into C territory. You didn't hurt the town. You just didn't make waves and lead the town either.
Okay, thanks, Kyle. You don't get to say anything. All right, we're gonna move on to Tan Maddie Stacks.
I mean, I want to hear what Kyle has to say.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead. You weren't scared of me at all this game, so that's fine. I would imagine.
No, I only figured out it was you based on your work schedule, which is a downer. I think a negative to the and on games too is players who know each other's day-to-day routines can figure out who each other are. So once I figured out it was you and you were busy, I was like, I don't see this changing anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I got way behind on that day too, and yeah. Bad day to get behind. Tan, Maddie Stacks. I want to preface this. I know I played and haven't been giving out grades, but I said something after the game to Kyle, and I'm going to say it right here. It feels like Maddie always falls into the bucket of pretty bad or pretty good, and I think I'm interested in what you're going to say, Jeff, but I think this was a pretty good bucket Maddie Stacks game.
Yeah, no, I put him in the B- category, and it was mostly because of the late game stuff. He was higher. prior to this. He was he was scum hunting. He was he was doing social deduction. He didn't fall into the traps of trying to meta puzzle solve. He got a seer hit, solid. I mean, that's points right there. And you could say that Green was already on thin ice and was already taking pressure, but he still had the seer roll and pulled the trigger on Green. Points. He lost some points for doing typical Matty Stacks things of not reading all the posts and making some weird logic leaps that kind of confused me. He just didn't do anything that could push him into A territory. I had him at a neutral B, and the only reason he fell to a B minus was because he kind of just, as we've already talked about, day 5, he just kind of waited for someone else to make the decision for him.
I remember day 1, somebody said something to, I think, Lime. It might have been Yellow. I don't remember. Or Lime said something. Someone said something like, "It's nice to see you, Maddie," or whatever. And it clearly wasn't Maddie that they were talking to. And then that's when it hit me late in day 1 that I had no idea who he was. And that was baffling to me because, I mean, he was reverting back to Maddie style post by like day 3 or 4. But the first 2 days, I had no idea he was tan.
So he sends me a message and he goes, "Hey man, I'm sorry I haven't been able to play because he was super inactive." And he's in Texas during the winter freeze. He lost power for the first day 1, and he tells me, he goes, "Hey man, I don't want them to know that it's me because I lost power." And I'm like, "No, I got you." So I posted, "Hey, Tan's just dealing with real life stuff. Don't worry about it."
And then he instantly shows up.
Yeah, well, and no one really questioned it, and Tan made it very far into the game before people started guessing it was him. Most people, as you said, day 3, 4, and 5. A lot of day 3 wasn't even that many. It was mostly day 4 and 5. People figured out it was Maddie. So, and I think Maddie did. This was good. This was good. Good bucket, Maddie.
Yeah, the reason I bring this up is because he's been in one other anonymous game out here in the Lord of the Rings one where he was the luminous fire guy or whatever. And I remember thinking at the time that. Yeah, thank you. I only remember that game because I exposed who he was and got him killed. But I remember thinking at the time too, like that I had no idea that was Maddie. And when he hides who he is, Hate Trainer tends to listen to him.
Well, and that's the point I've been making about Anon, is that we have these we have these typecasts. Like, it's how easy it is for, to joke about, oh, crazy Maddie Stacks is on his crazy Maddie conspiracy, but in an Anon game where even if you know it's Maddie Stacks, you're not reading his username and seeing his avatar every time he posts. You're seeing Tan, and even if you know that you're reading a Maddie Stacks post, your brain is seeing a Tan post. And so Anon is the type of game where Maddie can really show what he's got.
Yeah. Kyle, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No,
move
I'm
on?
good.
No? All right, excellent. Okay, well, we're going into your Mafia now. I'm going to save you for last. So we're going to go in order of ejections here. Mr. Alabrol.
Ooh, D+.
Okay.
D+. His day 1 play was bad. There's no getting around it. He was busy playing Valheim.
Hearthstone?
What's it called?
Oh, okay. Valheim?
Valheim. Yeah. He wasn't paying attention. He made a claim that was literally a carbon copy of Green and Brown, and even tied the name that he chose. Cranberry was Barry Nark, and I couldn't figure that out until he told me.
Me neither.
Cranberry was in a relationship with Harry Styles, so he just tied it directly to Superstar.
What a
Green.
guy.
And his reveal was just a carbon copy of both Superstar, and Superstar was a carbon copy of Renfield Brown, so not good. Then he came up with a good flavor. I like the bedhead, and like the birds made a nest in my head because of my bedhead. I'm like, cool. Too little, too late. It was like an hour before the day ends, and then he goes to hammer. Like,
did he hammer the day a little early too?
He hammered like an hour and some change early, I think.
That's early for day one.
Day two, so he doesn't lie about his votes or of White's votes. He has control of someone's confidant's message and doesn't lie about it.
Doesn't send me
Don't
one
know
either.
why. Yeah, he didn't send a confidant message. He didn't claim he sent a confidant message. His lie about he says he has the investigator, and someone goes, "Who'd you investigate?" He says yellow, and they said, "What was the result?" Nothing to report. Okay, and then they go, "Did you roll block him?" No. Why? Oh, it's Absol's fault. Okay. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad play. He gets points. The reason he's not a D minus and he got a D plus, he went past D into D plus, is because he did send me a message saying, "I'm gonna lean into it. I'm gonna go full blown bad play and just lean into it," and it almost worked.
A dub's a dub.
So.
That's very true.
And he still gets points. He still gets points for winning at the end of the day. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, his way over focus on trying to bust green and brown and not even trying to focus on anyone else. But I don't know. Is that bad? Because at the end of the day, that whole crazy triple bust thing worked out in the Mafia's favor. So
I can't believe you're all one vote away on day two. That's incredible.
Crazy, bonkers. So
right.
I felt pretty good about a D plus on him.
Okay. Well, the guy he was bussing, Green, superstar.
Even C. C, right in the middle. His day one play was really bad. His fake claim was extremely weak and copied off Brown. I want to read to you guys the fake claim he sent me and didn't use, and I want you to tell me if, especially you, Kyle, because I don't think you've seen this, have you?
When did he come up with this? The timestamp is important.
He came up with this before you claimed to be in medical, because he was going to claim medical.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So he sends me a message, and he's just like, he sends me a message basically saying, "Oh my god, we don't have any flavor, we're screwed. And he goes, "You couldn't even have given me something like, quote, Sue is a medtech specialist. Despite her foul mouth and hyper-aggressive attitude, she worked incredibly hard through medical school at Johns Hopkins University to obtain her doctorate. Being unimpressed by the day in and day out of hospital care, she jumped at the opportunity to work for DERP in hopes of finding some excitement."
Not bad.
That's really good.
I believe it.
And instead, he came up with the very weak carbon copy of Brown. And then when Cyan kept asking him to, like, elaborate, he would just be like, "Nah, fam, I'm good."
Very superstar line to take. No, I'm good.
Like multiple times, he was just like, "No, I'll get to it. I'll give you the rest of my flavor." And he was one of the few people. Day 2 came, and he was like one of 2 people, including Purple, who hadn't fully given flavor. So then also, Black says, "If no one else claims admin, I'm going after Red."
Yes.
And about three
Ouch.
posts later, Superstar claims admin.
I was like, it's so free.
Kill.
It's so free. Just let him cake out Red.
So that wasn't good. He also decided to just get antagonistic with Cyan over flavor, like I said, for no reason. He forgot to send his text message during night 1. He came out of the door trying to bust Purple. Like, his first post is, "Guys, it's Purple, and let me tell you why." Like, no subtlety, no nuance, just, it's Purple. And he rode that train to the ground. And he just kept trying to bust Purple and Brown. Then he sends me a message, and he goes, "Oh my god, I've been playing horrible. I know what I'm gonna do now." And you probably noticed this, Kyle. His day 2, he shifts in the middle of day 2, and suddenly he starts trying to play.
Mm-hmm.
And he found his groove, and even his night chatting with you during that next night was a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just too little too late. I think if he had played better early game, he might not have been the seer target. He also was convinced that yellow had the protector, despite pink even saying, "Ha, got you. I would never give the protector to you. You're Mafia." But he was really convinced that yellow had the protector because pink had said that prior. So, Superstar. I know he gets stressed out when he doesn't play Mafia as well as he plays Town. He gets stressed out with the lying and the deceit and the constant just what if scenarios.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that about him.
Like, I'm a horrible person, so I do good as Mafia because I just have to be myself. That's why I suck at Town. But yeah, so Superstar definitely plays better Town than he plays Mafia. So it was unfortunate. He got a late start, and I gave him a C, right in the middle. I don't think he inherently hurt the Mafia with his play, but he didn't do anything great either.
Okay. I think those are all good points. We have one person left. That's Brown, a.k.a. Raptors. Oh, Renfield 89. Okay.
Welcome to Brown Town.
Boy, this grade is another one I struggled with. This was the last grade I put together, and you jumped the gambit. I could not figure out how to grade you. Your early play was pretty weak. I did note that you were the first Mafia to really pick up on what you needed to say in your flavor. I couldn't figure out. You claimed that you were an animal lover, so you got a botanical degree, and I thought that was weird. We talked about this.
Yeah, so I was reading science fiction, and I was studying about like biomes in space and closed ecosystems. So I decided to incorporate it in my flavor, and like not. I remembered that one of the other maps has like trees in it, so I was gonna claim botanist. But I also had the horns, so I was like, I'm just going to be an overall kind of nature guy, and a closed ecosystem has to account for all kinds of things, not just plants and oxygen. It has to sustain living things in general. But I also like picked up on the trend of like people claiming things that were off kilter or like being incompetent and things like that. And so I was like, I need to make mine a little strange in some respect.
Yeah, no, it caught some attention, but it didn't. I can't say it was a bad move because it didn't. No one really. You didn't get any pressure over it. Props for actually lying about your votes day 2.
I was going to bring that up if you did not.
Actually, that was a good reason you got points. Like you lied about your votes. You were definitely very clearly frustrated with how your team was playing day 2.
Yeah,
and it
I was
showed
worried about what the silent votes would reveal, and I thought everyone would do the same thing instinctively since we didn't come to an agreement on it, and that wasn't what happened. I was also worried, though, that I chose to come up with the silent votes that I did because I think only Graham had the same strategy of what to do with silent votes was not to vote for people of their specialties, and I was like, I was worried that would point out that I was the mod of the previous game and I had time to think about that. And 2, I was worried that it would just seem so different that people would be suspicious of it just for that alone.
Yeah, and when that goes up to my next point of why you lost some points, you just kind of overthought things a few times. Like, okay, so half the game didn't realize that the Mafia got 2 roll blocks night 1. So they're like trying to figure out, well, how can both black and brown be roll blocked if purple didn't roll block anyone? And at one point you messaged me saying like, I really want to point out that Mafia have 2 roll blocks, but then Town's just going to be like, oh, well, you only know that because you're Mafia. And I think that's a little 4D chess on yourself. Like, I don't think anyone would have been like, well, the only reason he brought that up isn't because he read the rules, it's because he's Mafia.
I think it's better if someone else defends you. I guess that was my thing. Yeah. Is like if you're defending yourself and you like know the rules better, it might just be because it's your own like set of rules. I don't know.
That's fair. Cyan actually brought it up, and everyone ignored him.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't until Pink said something, I think, that everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense to me."
Hmm.
We already talked about how like you. It looks like I actually that note doesn't make sense anymore. You cleared that up. I think that the one reason you didn't get higher than a B minus was because you kind of just you didn't have to do anything. You kind of just wrote off the town's self-created chaos past day 2, and well, that's not a bad thing. I mean, remember me? You actually criticized me and Poteet for doing that in Karma, but I don't think it's a bad thing. You gave us a C too, I might add. So no,
Yeah.
but it takes a certain level of self-control to play as reserved as you did. Now, granted, you generally play more controlled, but like I couldn't play the way you played if I was the lone Mafia. And so I respect that you really held back and just waited. Now, again, you didn't do anything to really confound or confuse the town. Nothing you really did like secured the victory. You just kind of had to enjoy the ride, especially day 5. But
I'd say I had to do a lot to secure a 7-1 comeback, but that's just me.
Giddy up, buddy.
I didn't demote you. I didn't demote your grade because of it. I just didn't promote you because of it. You took a lot of low risk night actions. Nothing wrong with that. I even wrote here, didn't play bad, just didn't do anything stand out. I mean, you got put in a bad situation. Green and purple didn't do you any favors. It was just, you did everything right, you just didn't have to do much. And I mean, you can agree to disagree, and I understand.
You can put it as like, I didn't have to do much, but I would say I avoided every mistake that I could make.
That's fair. No, that's a fair point. I could be convinced to promote you to B, but the reason I think I put you, the reason I put you as B minus is just because of what the B's are. Yeah, no, you still won. You still won. So overall, though, you guys might notice that all these grades are right there in that kind of middle B to C section. I think that 10 of the grades here are either B's or C. No, 11 of the grades are B's or C's. 1 is an A, 1 is a D. There's like 1 B plus. There's like 2 C minuses. This was good play by everyone. Like, town, no one burned the town to the ground. Mafia had a shitty start and the rules were stacked against them and still made a comeback. Solid play by everyone. I'm very happy with this game.
Me too. You, Graham?
Kyle. Oh no, what?
You happy with this game?
I was happy with this game. Oh yeah. I wish I'd been able to participate a little more, but I was happy with this game. Right. I like the whole vanilla town bouncing rolls rule set.
Yeah, it avoids the frustration of people getting like vanilla town and just feeling like they don't get to be impactful.
Right.
I don't know how you solve that in other regular games without adding more unpredictable elements to it. And you don't just want to like give everyone a roll and then publish all of them and have everyone claim which ones they got, because that just helps solve the game. So I'm unsure how to do it in a way that we continue to have so much transparency, but that we don't use the same rule set. But I'll leave that up to the next moderators to decide.
Oh no.
I'll say there will be. I will be running a sequel of this game at some point, so look forward to that with all the lessons learned. But
I want to throw out.
I've heard quite a few people.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I've heard quite a few members who have their own games written down. They just are looking for the encouragement to run it. I know of at least 4 people who have told me they have games, and I won't name drop. I won't name drop them here.
Let's publicly shame them.
No. Some of them have mentioned it. Some have not. But just I just want to say to them, like, take a chance. The
Run
worst
the game.
thing that could The worst thing that could happen is that, well, it goes tits up, and you gotta make an errata in the middle of the game, or you gotta just gut through it and make it to the end. Like, at the end of the day, no one's gonna like villainize you because you tried something new. Shit, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this game I was really worried was gonna just crash and burn, and it almost did a few times.
It did.
It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out fine. Let's get to really quickly if we have anyone we like in our mind now while we're still thinking about the game that we want to throw out for nominations for awards for scummies. So were there any really good bluffs or any really bad bluffs in this game, Graham, that come to mind? I personally can't think of anything.
I can't think of a single bluff.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of bluffing in this game. Jeff?
Maybe Yellow's bluff about the investigator, but whatever. It wasn't that it wasn't nomination worthy, I don't think.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yellow's bluff about why he didn't use security cameras.
And that
Not
was...
Yellow. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Purple. I'm
okay.
drunk. Purple's
Purple's
bluff about security cameras. Yeah, about targeting Yellow. Sorry.
I don't know about that one.
But it's not even that. Yeah, but I agree with you guys. There's not much.
What about blind scum hunch? Do we want to? Was Maddie's on green good enough for y'all to earn a nom?
No, because
wasn't that blind.
Yeah, there was a lot of reason to see her hit him.
Especially with red out, right?
Yeah. Do you think that black deserves blind scum hunch?
For what specifically?
The math and his initial, like, his claims where he said it's got to be 2 people within this group of, like, 6 and 1 person out of this group of 3.
Well, I guess the way I conceive of the award is, like, you're doing it more on intuition. That's what the blind part is to me. It's like there's no evidence that specifically points them that isn't circumstantial or based on just your own reads.
I don't think there really was any blind scum hunting then by those standards. This game, like, green and purple both had points against them, and people were on to you, but it wasn't blind. They had real reasons. They just, no one followed up on it.
Graham, you want to throw any knobs?
No, not for this one either.
Yeah, I think that does. That part of that would be just we had a little too much puzzle solving, too much grounds for puzzle solving in this game that hindered the traditional scum hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And you both agreed that nobody burned the town to the ground. I don't think I would nominate anyone for this game either. I think everyone had reason to be suspicious of the people they were suspicious of. Post of the year. Do you guys have a favorite one? I have a couple.
I have a couple. The first one was during day 2. This one doesn't work out of context, but after all the Mafia getting to 5 votes, finally you guys decide to eject Purple, and Pink just posts, "I think I just came, we're finally doing something," or something like that.
Let me add to that, because I have a Pink post too.
Okay.
Yellow says, "You're not even going to do the decency of reading my post. What more do you want? I have stacks of evidence against Lime." And Pink goes, "Oh, I've read it. Especially the part where you said you needed time to go find the evidence to make Lime look sus. It was probably right next to the missing 11,000 votes in Georgia." I laughed out loud at that one for a while.
Purple's response to I mentioned before it being like, "Nah, man, these vents don't work for me."
Yeah, that was a good one.
Stupid.
I had one other one. It's unrelated, but it was Poteet's artwork of Lime doing in yellow and then getting the orange.
Oh, I forgot. You know what? That gets my point. That gets points right there. 100%. That post made me made me laugh so hard. That's
Especially just like the position you had in the game of like being kind of on the outside, like I'll just walk in and walk out whenever I feel like it, and then having the balls to be
floating.
like to have a big meme in the thread.
yeah, no, that was good.
I found photographic proof of what Lime is attempting to do here.
Yeah. I again, I think it speaks about how good this game was that there wasn't too many like outlandish posts and no one burned the town to the ground and there wasn't as much blind scum hunting. It was just pure gameplay.
Graham, did you have any posts that come to mind?
I mean, I said spank me daddy, and I don't think anybody in the thread noticed besides Brohawk.
You made a pun at one point, and I think you made
this
a
is where we
pun.
draw the line, or we need to draw the line somewhere.
You said this is where we draw the line, and Yellow responds with, "I need you to take this a little more seriously." And I said,
I think it was Tan.
I said, Graham. Yeah, oh yeah, Tan says it. Yeah, it wasn't Yellow. Tan says, "I need you to take this game seriously," and I send Poteen a message going, "I appreciated the pun."
And then last category, whose strongest performances? I'm guessing you want to throw in Tarian here. He had earned the highest grade.
Mm-hmm. I really liked Atarian's play. Atarian's play. Atarian?
Yeah, I'm going to throw myself in there as the last man standing.
You do get points for the Mafia side.
Anybody else you want to highlight here?
Not really.
I give Pink a little shout out.
Pink gets a shout out if it's just that day 5. The day 5 just no bueno.
We didn't mention it,
but he does.
Yet I just wanted to throw it in here so it's documented. But I had like a whole mental warfare I was waging with Pink like 2 weeks in advance. I was doing research on how to win a 50-50 game. Like, is there any like gambling? Like edge psychologically I could gain over Pink when it would come down to me having to shoot between him and Tan, and I was planning this weeks in advance because I had mapped out it was going to be Pink and someone and me, and so I fuck you, Graham. I came to the conclusion, like after all of these different like ways of looking at it, like Pink would do this, they might protect themselves because of self-preservation, or maybe they protect Tan because they would talk themselves into me shooting them because they protected themselves twice or whatnot. But Pink's rationale for protecting Tan, did he tell you guys this? He only did it so that in the event that I did kill Pink, that he wouldn't be on the roster at the end of the game, so that he wouldn't be like seen when people go to visit the game, like who was left at the end. He didn't want to be blamed for the loss.
What a fucking Chad move.
Right, that was hilarious. Like I was going through all this stress for weeks about what would happen in a 50-50, and he was just like, I don't want to take the fall for this.
I think he sent me actually. Okay, wait a minute. I that may have suddenly made his PM to me make all the more sense because I didn't even think about it at the time. I
just had to let my cat out.
Yeah, okay, because I just glossed over this. He said, I'll use my team of 2 to protect Tan. Well, at least if I'm wrong, I'll be dead.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So, do you have any more miscellaneous notes for us, Raptor Man?
He's not even paying attention.
Sure.
There he is.
How dare you?
He was in the game and he didn't say anything about his appearance in the game.
It was
that's
wonderful.
true.
It was a great surprise.
Actually, can we real quick get a grade on Raptor Zone?
How was my
Raptor
reading
Zone?
of the game?
Well, if I recall correctly, you were chosen for this mission because you committed war crimes in Canada.
Oh.
So, I mean, props for that, I guess. But
war crimes in
died
Canada.
very quickly.
That's hard to do.
You probably stole some maple syrup or something.
Did you guys enjoy the little story flavor I threw on this? I was just trying to channel my inner Cave Johnson from Portal.
I did.
I was too preoccupied with you making Pat Hickus canonical to appreciate it.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Give me stats.
Black AWAS mentioned how this game would be easy, and it was because everyone had custom accounts. So I don't have to count any posts. They're already counted right under your username. Black predicted he'd have the most. He had the third most posts.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to guess you don't remember, Grammar Kyle, who had the most posts.
Yellow?
Yeah, could it not be yellow?
It's yellow. That means Darth Pika back-to-back has had the most posts in the last 2 games.
Whoa.
Yeah. Of the active play, I don't know. All the bottom of the list is all the people who died day 1 or 2. So Poteet wins the award for least active.
That is an award I will not be winning again anytime soon.
The only real note I have is you brought up the AWA spreadsheet thing, and that was the funniest thing of the game to me, because he posted the spreadsheet and he put himself as Black. So here he gave himself away. And Jeff took that down. Okay, cool. So then he reposts the fixed spreadsheet without his guesses. The problem is the spreadsheet in the corner said, this spreadsheet is owned by Alex.
Oh my god.
Olaja, I don't know how to say his last name. And I was like, it still says it who it is.
I didn't even notice that.
It was amazing. I loved all that.
That reminds me, at one time, Kyle, you sent me a message going like, hey, if I click on that link to the spreadsheet, is it going to log who I am and that I looked at the spreadsheet? And I didn't understand why that mattered.
It says it in the corner.
Adamant.
Yeah.
You were adamant, and I was just like, I think it just says like anonymous hedgehog or anonymous wombat or whatever.
Usually, yeah, if you're not.
Okay, and you were just like, I don't want to open. I was like, why don't you just log out of Google then before you open it? And you're like, no, I don't want to take the chance. I'm just not logging in to look at that. I'm not looking at that spreadsheet. And I don't know if you ever did.
Well, this came up many games ago. You obviously don't remember because you didn't realize like the way to exploit a spreadsheet. But you could use it like a day chat as long as only a couple people had forgotten about it, and only a few people were still looking at it. You could post like something to edit the spreadsheet if multiple people have edit access.
That's
but you could just send, if Graham and I were town, we could, just text each other. Like,
well, if I would want to talk to someone whose number I don't have in the game,
I guess.
You just PM them.
Yeah.
If you're gonna cheat better is what I'm saying. Don't use a Google spreadsheet.
That's one of the hardest ways to cheat.
Like, let's say we're in a 3-person scenario at the end, and only 2 of us are still looking at the spreadsheet. I could be like, please, for the love of God, I am not Mafia, and then post my role and everything, and then just like take it down as soon as I thought the other person had looked. Like, I'd say like, hey, as soon as you see this, post watermelon in the thread, and I'll take this down.
I would hope that the other player then messages me and goes, hey, Brown's straight up cheating here. And I mean, I guess if he doesn't, then, well, you got me. But I generally have more trust in HT than that.
It had come up in a previous game, but it was like years ago now.
AWAS actually did in Graham's game, his historical one. I always forget. Conflict resolution. He used a spreadsheet in that game as well, and it made him really suspect in my eyes because he posted the spreadsheet like immediately after the night. He posted the next day, but I could see when the spreadsheet, like the edit history, and he had started it as soon as the day ended, and he was counting the votes to see who got the Mafia kill that Graham was handing out based on votes. That reminds me
of Tomahawk pinning me as Mafia on the basis that, well, you typed out your novel of a post before the update was up. There's no way that you had that posted in 10 minutes.
That came up this game too. Someone had a pre-written post. I think it was Cyan, and someone was like, this does not look good for you, Cyan.
It's a fair point, but I think that's a trap because I mean, some people just start writing their posts before the update, and there's nothing that the update's going to change in their post.
As we've learned, Mafia can post anything, and they can look town, and they can look Mafia, and you don't know what they're doing. So, good luck.
That sounds like something Mafia would say. Vote Raptor Zone.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you know? It's that time again. It's that time for what time is it? What time is it? Zen! It's that moment of Zen. It's a Zen time. Gotta share our moments of Zen.
We're at 3 hours and I'm cutting that.
Don't cut that.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. That's definitely partially my fault. I don't know how to shut up.
He's not cutting that, don't worry.
This probably will be 2 parts, but I'll just release them on the same day.
If it's 2 parts, we're definitely moment of Zenning.
Well, yeah, yes, we are.
I'm
right
letting
now.
you
We're
continue now because 3 hours plus is way too big of a file size, and I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And I know Alex has something he needs to talk about here too.
Yeah. So Raptor Zone, take the lead.
I don't like this. This has become feces corner. This is like a moment of feces. So
go ahead.
After a year of work from home, I recently started back full time at my office. And one of the good things about working from home is your bowel movement schedule is much freer. When I can avoid it, I do not go to the bathroom. I don't take a shit in public restrooms. I avoid it whenever I can. Obviously, I will if I have to. So I don't like pooping at work, is what I'm saying.
Was this pre-COVID? Have you always been like this, or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I try to avoid it if I can. And so working at home has been great. I just, I get my own palace, my home court advantage. So now that I'm back at the office full time, it has sucked. My body thinks I'm still staying at home. It has no idea, So
Has
I've been
urges.
trying to. It has daytime urges that I don't like. So I've been having to retrain it to pre-COVID.
Retrain it.
Number 2 schedule, which is usually a once I get home. Which made me think, so at my office, we only have like 50 people who work there. And there's plenty of restrooms, so you could find a private restroom if you really needed to. So it's not that big of a deal for me. But Graham, you're a mailman. And I thought, do you pull over at random, do you pull over gas stations, fast food? Do you have preferences? Are you like, Target has like bomb
No, he's got
bathrooms.
a built-in seat modification in that truck.
It's like an airplane. It just ejects it below the mail truck.
I wish.
I kind of just assumed he goes in like a package somewhere and just leaves it somewhere.
Yeah, on the doorstep, set it on fire and go. In all seriousness, it depends.
Do you have a favorite spot
on my route? Yes.
I wanted. Is it a store? Is it a restaurant? What is it?
On my route, it is the Department of Child Services.
It's just open to the public?
Yes.
Do they know you? Do they know why you're coming in? They're like,
I deliver there. Of course they know.
There's Poteet the mailman going to take a shit in our bathroom.
Yeah, because I have pretty regular time periods, so
that's so awkward.
I deliver that. I deliver there at about 9:30 in the morning, and then they might see me again at about 11:45, and I kind of.
So Kyle, I assume Kyle, you teach. Do you just go on your break period or your lunch?
I usually don't at work at all, but
your body's trained, you do
but sometimes, duty calls, especially during, I find early morning, I get irritable, in the morning sometimes. And so I'll have to run out of class really suddenly.
Morning is peak poop time. But
there's an issue currently that the faculty restroom on the second floor where I'm at, the stall lock is broken, so you can't close the one stall door in there. So it's like one of those push locks where you turn it and it's supposed to put a little gadget in there, and if you jiggle it for 5 minutes, seriously 5 minutes, it will inch its way out of the thing. But then you have to jiggle it back for 5 minutes to get
so you
to
spend
unlock.
10 minutes just messing with the lock.
Yes. So it's a whole mess. And sometimes you'll do all that and it'll still like fall open because it's barely, locked at all. And then you just have to hope no one walks in. Or you have to brave it in one of the student restrooms, and that is a terror that I don't want to experience.
That's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea. Jeff, do you have any issues?
Didn't you once post in the Good Beats thread, I assume by accident, that you sat on a public toilet without creating a nest first?
That sounds like... Yeah, so I make a very, very thick wreath, a 3-layer wreath.
Yes, and you I assume you meant to post it in Sour Grapes, that you accidentally sat on a naked toilet, and you posted it in Good Beats instead, and it's still there as far as I know.
No, I think it's in Good Beats because it was like I had lived where I lived long enough that I was finally comfortable at this new place, not wreathing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't wreath at my office. I just go and bear.
Well, I have multiple follow-ups to the wreathing, but I was gonna say, I didn't get to finish. If duty calls before I can go back to the Department of Child Services, I deliver to a retirement community, and I'll use their public bathroom.
Nice. I figured you'd pick a fancy travel plaza or I don't have
any fancy travel plazas because I'm downtown. I mean, I can go to a gas station or McDonald's if it's.
Yeah.
But but do you guys wreath all the time in public?
Yes.
In public toilets, I do.
It depends on at work. I don't because
I've never done this.
The toilet isn't frequently used, so
never, not once.
It's not a big deal. But if I'm in a McDonald's, I'll read.
If it's sketch, I'll get some extra and I'll wipe it real hard, put some elbow grease into it, and then. But I'm not sitting on paper. I slide around too much.
So you'd rather sit on pubes?
You gotta make sure there's no pubes on it first.
The Hidden Roleplay podcast is our podcast.
I mean, our audience is hate trainer. They know what they're signing.
We can't.
If
we
you
can't
listen
share.
to this, share your public restroom stories
on YouTube. Yeah, tell us about.
Please respond to our tweet with your own restroom stories.
And if you'd like to see pictures of our restrooms, sign up for our Patreon and donate $1 a month.
Yes.
Hell yeah! If you'd like us to make a supplemental podcast,
I could take a vlog from the Department of Child Service restroom.
Yeah, if you get to the $20 tier, Poteet will live chat you from the public.
Oh, for sure. For $20, why not?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I have a follow-up to this.
Oh no.
What would you guys do if you didn't have your phones with you in the toilet?
It's not that big of a deal.
Okay, because where I work, I'm in the military, as everyone knows. Can't have your phones in the office. Just leave them out in the car. So that means that any movements I make during my workday, it's just me in the stalled door and whatever.
You got to take some reading material. Grab a magazine.
Whatever.
How long are you guys taking in there?
Well,
as long as your tax dollars.
Right. That's what I was saying. This is a question rooted in the fact that you're just taking your sweet time in there, and I, for one, don't find that a very comfortable place to take my sweet time.
Yes, if I'm at home, I'll take my sweet time. But if I'm in a public restroom, I want in and out as fast as I can because I don't want that awkward moment of someone walking in and being like, "Oh, that stall's taken. Someone's shitting in there."
Hey, so if you guys have flushed and you're starting to pull everything back up, and someone walks in, do you guys wait until they're gone?
No. But
oh, I do. I don't want to make eye contact with them.
You don't want to make it. You stand there please leave.
I mean, I guess specifically when I'm in mailman uniform, I don't want to be like, oh, man, I'm just shit.
So you guys are about to learn something you probably never needed to know about the military, but it is completely a social norm in the military to just have a conversation with the guy in the stall next to you.
It's not
that does not surprise me. It does not surprise me.
It happens I've literally I've been in restrooms where someone will just rip a really nasty fart and you'll hear someone go nice and it just happens. We also had someone was, I guess, their silent protest against whatever was going on. Some toilet in our office was just getting clogged on purpose with toilet paper on a weekly basis, like overflowing with water, and they never caught him. the guy who was doing it, but it was just someone's silent protest against the system.
What a rebel.
The protest was putting toilet paper in the toilet?
Yeah, and then COVID happened, and then the toilet paper just all got stolen.
All right. It's time to move on to our next moment of Zen. Do you have one, Jeff?
I don't know. I could talk for an hour about my car, but no one wants to hear that.
You're right.
We all know about Jeff's car.
I know. No, I got nothing.
That's okay. We got plenty of input on each other's, like Graham's.
We do? I have a moment of Zen? Shoot. My kids aren't even here right now, so...
Well, I was going to give you guys a choice of my two, but if you want me to say both of them...
No, give me your one while I try to recap what's happened in my life.
All right, do you want my school-related one or my nightmare?
Shit. I want the school because it's real.
Okay, so I've caught on to this trend that my students have been doing, and
TikTok?
No, it's a cheating thing that they do, and
sweet.
So because I've gotten some parents who are like, the parents will reach out and they'll be like, my student says they've turned this thing in, and you still gave them a 0. What's that all about? And so what they do on Canvas or Blackboard or whatever you're familiar with is the submission software they use. Ours is Canvas. If they turn in something, if they upload something, it will say it's submitted. So first layer of the student's culpability is they just turned something in, not necessarily their work, and then they can say to their guardian, I turned it in, and they can show, like, it says submitted, see, I turned it in, I don't know why I got a 0, and then all of a sudden it's my fault. But there are guardians who either have wised up to, like, their kids not doing their homework, or they hear from the teacher, like, they didn't turn in the right thing. So then they, the next layer of protection the kids have is now they've started turning in PDFs or images of error messages so that when their guardians like, show me what you turned in, they pull it up and it's like, oh, I guess Canvas isn't working right now. Or, oh, it corrupted my file. And so now I have been distributing to those guardians like photographic proof, like, oh, your child has turned in this same PDF 3 times. Look at how it adds like -1, -2, -3 to the end of it because they keep uploading this, and I can like send as an attachment the PDF that they're sending. Look, it's not a system message. Your kid just thinks that you're dumb enough to get fooled by this, and you are. And I don't blame you because you probably haven't used Canvas before, but yeah. So I'm just like systematically going through these kids and getting them grounded, basically.
That's impressive.
Impressive that they've figured out how to evade doing homework.
Some ingenuity right there.
It is to a point that, like, I mean, it's just impressive. Children are smarter than we give them credit for.
Smarter at not getting smarter.
Look, I never said it was a positive thing. I'm still.
It is.
What's the
ingenuity.
line? What's the line from Anchorman? He goes, "I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed."
Right. Did you come up with
one? I actually want to hear your nightmare one. Changed my mind.
Okay. So I had a nightmare last week. Okay, in my nightmare, I'm in my dad's kitchen, and he's having a family reunion. Yeah, he's having a family reunion.
That is pretty scary.
And all of the family is there, and I'm walking down one of the hallways, and I walk past one of my older relatives. I won't say which one because I feel like I'm going to jinx it. I walk past one of my
They're on TikTok.
No. I walk past one of my older relatives, and I go back into the kitchen, and we're having a discussion, me and 2 of my other relatives, and they bring up that relative, and I was like, oh, I just saw them back in the hall, and they're like, so-and-so has been dead for a while now, Kyle. And in the dream like logic of this world, I also realized, like, you're right, they have been dead, even though they're alive in real life. And I was like, fuck, I just saw a ghost. And everyone, and I realized this, and everyone's looking at me, and like, Kyle, what's wrong? And I'm shaking, and I'm like, I just saw a ghost. Like, I'm serious. I saw that relative, and everyone like takes it seriously. So we decide to have a seance in the kitchen. And so we're all collected there, and we're thinking about that person. And there's like a knock from the inside of one of the walls by me. And then in the next minute, as we're all like looking at each other, the lights go out, and there's this thud, and all of the nails and bolts in the wall push out of the wall, like out of the planks, and then another one, and they push farther out, and then nails appear in the ceiling, like pooled there, that shouldn't be there. Like if you were constructing a building, there'd be no reason to have like 1,000 bolts and nuts in this one part of the ceiling, but they're all there in this like bowl, like being pushed out. And I'm like worried the house is going to collapse, and we're in the darkness, and I don't know what's going to happen next. But the next thing is that out of the basement, which is like connected to the kitchen, out of the basement, 2 children crawl out, but they're not crawling on the floor. They're crawling on the walls and the ceiling. They're kind of like ring crawling, you know, where that thing where like it's like not normal crawling like in front of you. It's like they're doing that like kind of push-up kind of style of crawling. And they have these masks on, and the masks are kind of like hockey masks, except they've like cut out one of the kids has cut out a smile in his hockey mask, and the other kid has cut out a frown in his hockey mask. And it's kind of like Oogie Boogie, you know, from Nightmare Before Christmas kind of style of masks is what it reminded me of. But they're like crawling towards us, and that's where my nightmare ended, and I finally woke up.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot to take in.
You know what your nails in the kitchen reminded me of, or whatever? Remember those toys when you were a kid that there was like the
needles,
the box, and the needles, and you could push it in to make impressions.
I love those.
Yes, those are the image. Okay, maybe. All right, so we figured out where those came from in your dream. Now, where did the crawling children come from?
Obviously, it's the students.
Students. Have you ever had a dream about any of your students? Not like
no.
Okay. Huh.
I've never had a school dream. No, I guess for work I haven't had a school dream. I've had like college dreams.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So on the top, what do you teach again?
English,
Kyle. Okay, that's what I thought, because on the topic of you being an English teacher, I have a confession to make. I proofreaded all of my updates extra hard because I was really concerned about being judged by you for like comma errors and misspellings. And more than once, I was about to post something. I was just like, "Oh, Kyle's gonna judge me if he sees that I put an Oxford comma here, or I used the wrong version of this word or something." I just want you to know that you have that influence on me, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Oh, that's funny. I don't judge too hard. I'm pretty nice when it comes to grammar. I'm not a grammar police kind of person, but to be honest, I skim a lot of updates anyway.
I type how I speak.
I also went to great lengths to not use Oxford commas, to leave out punctuation, to make posts that were less coherent than usual, and I don't feel like it really... Well, maybe it did, because you said not a lot of people had me pegged as brown, but I don't know if that was working or not.
A lot of people thought you... Okay, off the top of my head, like I said, I don't really have the forums up because they just weren't very useful past day 2. But a lot of people were like, yeah, brown has to be superstar or... Atarian, I keep saying his name wrong. Poteet. Yeah, just whatever you did worked.
Well, I'll have to change it up again. Anyway.
Who did people think orange was then? Hang on a second.
Think what?
Who did people think orange was?
Here, give me a quick moment. So night 5, 1 response. Night 4, 1 response. Night 3, 1 response. Night 2, 4 responses, and night 1, 8 responses. So going just purely off night 1, orange.
This is high quality right here. Give it to me.
Master Mook, 2 votes that you were Master Mukau, 1 vote that you were Darth Pico, 2 votes that you were Tomahawk, 2 votes that you were Matty Stacks, and 1 vote that you were Poteet, which I'm guessing is your own.
Yes.
Brown. This is all day 1. Brown. 1 vote that you're Renfield, which I'm guessing yourself.
I didn't vote in the spreadsheet.
Oh, it might have been the... Okay, so someone got you. Who got you?
The Savant. Was it me? I don't think so.
Of my friend group, Graham, Kyle, and Matt, Kyle was the only one I guessed right after night 1.
Brown, you were also supposedly Atarian, Darth Pika, Matty Stacks, Superstar. 2 votes said you were Awast. 1 vote said you were Alabarel.
All over the map.
A lot of disinformation, so
Yeah.
I'll take it as it did what it was supposed to do. All right, I think on that note, we can wrap up. Thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no,
Jeff.
I'm glad I could be on finally.
It's always fun to talk Mafia for hours. Thanks for putting
Have fun editing all this.
Thanks for putting up with my long outline, Raptor Zone, Alex.
He's asleep.
And thanks for taking some duties off my shoulders, Graham.
You're welcome. I really didn't, but okay. I have to give Pathicus, if you're still listening. How you doing, big guy?
Oh, shit. Pathicus said that he wanted to be mentioned on the podcast if he did anything good. Props to Pathicus. I know he was watching. His day 2 reads for Mafia were green, brown, purple. So
Play a game,
props.
you coward.
Also that.
He says
Or host a
every
game.
great game needs loyal spectators, and he's filling that role.
Yeah. I mainly just want to get him on the pod so we can hear his accent.
I've heard his voice before.
I have too. It's a very strong accent.
Also, okay, actually I do have a Zen moment. So as everyone knows, Pathicus has done a very good job of hiding his identity. He has no pictures anywhere. He has no identifying, like, images, like, nothing. I have a picture of his hand. He accidentally sent me.
Sweet.
So I can prove that Pathicus is indeed a person.
Is it a human hand?
Yes,
Okay.
I think.
You should just make it your profile picture.
Oh,
I might.
wow.
Ooh, that'd be a power move.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, all of Hey Trainer Nation. I assume it's you here at the end with us. You can always
Atarian's definitely
If
here.
it's not, what is wrong with you?
you can
I want
always
to know who you are.
you can always get more updates on Twitter. We're working on doing another game review, but can't say a specific date yet. But I look forward to the next Hey Trainer game. We don't have anyone who's stepped up to bat totally yet as the next mod, but I assume it'll be pretty soon, with so many people expressing interest. So looking forward to that. Any last words, everybody?
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.